You wake up, and for the first time, that heavy morning grogginess is just gone. You don't have to force yourself out of bed. You don't have to wait for the coffee to kick in, and you're not dreading the workday ahead. Instead, you just open an app on your phone, select Productivity 2.0, and hit Activate. A split second later, a tiny chip in your hypothalamus releases a precise dose of dopamine and norepinephrine. Your pupils dilate just a bit, the sleepiness vanishes, and you're hit with a wave of crystal clear confidence. You aren't just ready for the day, you're actually looking forward to it. And that's just the start. You've got a date tonight, and you've already pre-booked the 3-hour falling in love package. Sounds like the perfect life, right? Well, here's where it gets interesting. We like to think of our feelings as something sacred, something deeply personal that makes us human. But what if your emotions became nothing more than lines of code and paid filters in a subscription plan? Let's break down how this works. Technically, it's not magic. It's neurochemistry. There's an implant in your head that directly controls your endocrine system. No more depression, no more panic attacks, and no more heartbreak after a breakup. You just toggle sadness to off in your settings, just like muting notifications on your phone. At first glance, it looks like a total utopia. Humanity finally defeats its greatest enemy, mental suffering. You don't need years of therapy anymore. One click, and you're happy. You can pull a 12-hour shift without burning out because your body is artificially maintaining your endorphin levels. But there's a catch, and it's something people rarely think about during that initial rush of euphoria. If happiness is a subscription service, what happens when your credit card gets declined? Imagine a typical evening in a city of the future. You're walking down the street, and you see people who look off. Some are glowing with this unnatural plastic-looking joy. Those are the ones who paid for the premium package. Their smiles are perfectly symmetrical, and they're bursting with energy. But right next to them are the grays. These are the people with a zero balance. Without chemical stimulation, their brains, which are now used to constant boosting, crash into a deep, hollow apathy. It's not even sadness, it's an emotional vacuum. You see them on the subway, empty eyes, slumped shoulders. This is where reality starts to get dark. Emotions become a social status symbol. Genuine laughter is now a luxury. If you didn't pay for the humor module, you might logically understand a joke, but your body won't react. You'll just stare back with a dead expression. To feel empathy at a funeral or tenderness when you see a child, you have to open the app and confirm the transaction. Now watch how the tension builds. Corporations enter the chat, and that changes everything. You think you're in control of your mood? Think again. Your marketing department is in control now. Imagine walking into a mall. Your chip instantly syncs with the local server. They don't just show you an ad for new sneakers. They artificially trigger a feeling of burning, unbearable self-loathing. You feel worthless until you look at the product. And the moment you pick it up, the corporation sends a signal to your chip. A sharp hit of oxytocin. A surge of pleasure. They're literally training you like a lab rat, using your own hormones instead of sugar cube. You don't buy things because you need them. You buy them because it's the only legal way to get a dose of happiness approved by the algorithm. But let's go even deeper. Power. What if the government decides that anger is an illegal emotion? Imagine a political protest. Thousands of people are in the streets, fed up with injustice, ready to demand change. Then, in a single second, the roar of the crowd goes silent. On a command from a central hub, everyone's chip switches to calm and grateful mode. The rage vanishes. The fire in their eyes goes out. People look at each other, confused about why they're even there. All they feel is a strange, numb sense of peace. The protest turns into a peaceful herd that just wanders home, smiling at their oppressors. It's the ultimate tool of control. You don't need tanks or tear gas if you can just turn off the population's will to resist. And this brings us to the scariest part, the psychological toll. Who are you without your real feelings? Picture this. You lose someone close to you. It hurts. It's unbearable, but the system offers you a way out. Would you like to skip the grieving process for $9.99? If you say yes, you won't suffer. You'll function, you'll go to work, you'll smile, but you won't grow. You won't process the loss. Our character is forged in the fire of pain and disappointment. If you take away the pain, we become flat, like 2D characters in a budget video game. We stop evolving. Why strive for anything if you can just simulate success in your bloodstream? You become a function, a biological host for software. Your self dissolves into an equalizer setting. Here's the big ethical dilemma, the right to opt out. Imagine you decide to live naturally. You want to feel real sadness and real joy, but society starts to push back. Your boss says, "Look, you've been pretty unstable lately. Your mood swings are hurting the team. Either you install the stability module, or we're going to have to let you go." Your partner complains that your love isn't intense enough compared to her romance package set to maximum. You start to be seen as dangerous, an unpredictable element. In this world, being human means being defective. In a world of perfect digital emotions, the natural human psyche looks like a rusty machine that's constantly breaking down. Looking ahead, we can see three possible scenarios. The positive one, we only use this for medicine. People with severe trauma get their lives back. We end suicide. The world becomes a kinder place because aggression is neutralized instantly. But can we really maintain that balance? The realistic scenario is much darker. Society splits into an emotional elite who can afford every feeling, and the budget tier, living on a standard loop of obedience, work, sleep. And then there's the radical scenario. We lose the concept of real entirely. Within a couple of generations, people will forget that emotions used to happen on their own. We'll become a civilization that just manages chemical levels in its veins, while the world around us falls apart. And here's the ultimate paradox. All human progress was driven by dissatisfaction. We were cold, so we invented fire. We were bored, so we created art. We were afraid of death, so we built modern medicine. If we just hit the happiness button, we stop forever. We become perfect, content, and completely dead inside. It's the end of history, packaged in a slick mobile interface. In the end, the choice is yours. But before you decide to delete your anxiety or pain forever, think about this. Are you ready to hand the keys to your soul to people who just want to profit off it? What's left of you when your tears are paid content and your anger is a locked feature? Maybe our ability to suffer is exactly what makes us who we are. So tell me, if you had the chance to turn off your pain forever with one button, would you risk it knowing that everything else might disappear with it? Let me know in the comments which emotion you'd buy first and which one you'd delete forever. And remember, as long as my words are making you feel a little uncomfortable, you're still the one in control.